Hargreaves, chance for Torquay! Chris Hargreaves, the captain! If he stays onside, Carlisle checks instead. He's looking for Benyon. Sells!
Hello and welcome to the latest Goals Eye View. Before we get into the video, remember to vote for us if you haven't, please, in the non-league category in the description below. But this week I'm joined by Tom.
Good evening, lads. Nice to see you all again.
I'm joined by Dom.
Good evening.
I'm joined by Chris.
Best till last. Evening, lads.
Yeah, and this video is brought to you, of course, by Galaxy TQ. Right, so we're on a winning streak, lads. What a time.
Although you wouldn't know it from most of the stuff you read.
No, I wouldn't know it from the way I feel.
All right. Gotcha. Don't start fights just yet, Chris.
We'll get into that a bit more, especially in part two, when we've asked, well, how you rate the start of season out of 10, and there's been loads and loads of interesting points, and I'll say more of my stuff in that part. But we'll go back to what seems, as we said before, a long time ago now, Slough away. Who was there? Tom, were you there?
I was there for about 80 minutes. Yeah, I turned up and we went a goal down.
Brilliant.
I don't know. I can't say how we were playing before that, but it didn't sound like I missed much. Looked like a pretty good goal from what I could see for them.
It was like an overhead kick, wasn't it?
Kind of. It was kind of like a hybrid overhead kick. It was weird, yeah. But it was just the first half performance. I mean, if it wasn't for Mark Halstead in goal, we would have been 6-0 down at half time. It was ridiculous. There were so many players that were having, well, barely 2-3 out of 10s in my book. The atmosphere from a lot in the steady away section in the Torquay end, there was a lot of negativity, especially at half time. Gary Johnson, time to go and all that.
Yeah, I was thinking
second
that
half,
in the kitchen, to be fair.
Second half, I wouldn't say we started great either. But we got the equaliser, and that turned out to be the turning point of the game, because before then it looked like we were just going to, lose that. But Bradley Ash has opened his account for Torquay United, and he has opened his account with two brilliant goals. What a great move he made for the first one to slot it into the far corner. And the second one was a great cross from Collins. He's got in between both defenders, unmarked.
Yeah.
And although I say we held on, we didn't really hold on. Slough tired, and maybe that's another point that you can get into later, is once again playing the part-time sides. Maybe all we
I just feel like our saving grace at the moment, doesn't it? We've got that extra fitness just to carry off the end of games.
I've worked out the technique. If I moan loads at half-time about everything, we come back to win. That's happened in the last two games now.
Yeah. Well, I posted on my Twitter at half-time an anti-Gary tweet. And,
you did. You were very vocal, Tom, weren't you?
I did the same on Monday, and it worked again. Yeah. But no, honestly, I think it's one of those you can count maybe a bit lucky that we got the 3 points. It's to be honest.
So very lucky, Tom. I mean, I watched that. You're thinking they're going to score it, don't you? You know they haven't.
Yeah.
Why didn't they score it?
But we managed to nullify their threat in the second half. And again, once we got the equaliser, that was the game changer. It took all the confidence away from them. And no disrespect to Slough, but I don't expect them to be, pushing up the trees this season. They'll probably be lower end of the mid-table, I would imagine. I don't think they'll be the worst team in the league or one of the bottom four. But it was a very important 3 points, because it was not a nice place to be at half-time in the Torquay end. And just thank goodness we managed to turn it around.
One of those things that I've been bemoaning about, just that lack of quality in the final third, and it's a quality, wasn't it? It was really good movement, control, turn inside for the first goal. It's a brilliant cross from Collins for the second goal.
Didn't he? It showed his tigerish qualities. He works hard for it, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. Lovely ball in from Collins. Those headers aren't as easy as they look, because when the ball's curling away, it's easier to kind of, because you've got to put more power. But when it's kind of curling that way, you've kind of got to get your positioning and your angle right, because it can kind of end up fading away from you much quicker. But he held it really well. It was a really good header into the corner. They were just those two bits of quality that won the game, basically, weren't they?
Yeah.
Those are tough crosses to put in, aren't they? Because if you hit them slightly too hard, they're out for a goal kick, and if you hit them a little bit too short, they just hit the defender. So Collins has struggled to get that quality throughout the season so far, hasn't he? Tried to cut in on his right, but
I just don't think he's getting the ball enough, though. This is the problem. I was going to wait for this little rant before until after the Braintree review. But what are we playing at? Honestly, right, great results, fine. But what we're playing at, I know we've gone to this 4-4-2 now, which is fine. We've got Jarvis, we've got Ash, we've got Stubbs, we've got Collins, we've got De Silva, who didn't have a very good time against Braintree, admittedly. But why are we not getting them on the ball? Why am I having to watch? This is going to go into Braintree game now because it's that game. 50 long balls a game to Jarvis. He's tall, he's right in the air, right? Fine. But why aren't we playing it on the floor? Why aren't we tiring these teams out by moving it left and right? And then they get more and more tired quicker. And then that's what we did last time. What is the difference between the last team and this team? You could argue it's a better team before, possibly a lot more pace. That's the one. But what are we doing? Why?
I think we're falling into the same trap as last year. I mean, we tried to play Goodwin and Jarvis two up front. As Chris would say, times last season we weren't getting left short in midfield, and that we're falling into.
I thought we played better last season, weren't getting results at times.
Maybe.
It was just
defensive lapses. We're trying to play that two up front, and even in the National League South, as
it worked last time with
low level. Teams are bulking up in midfield, and
you're right though, yeah. And that's
it happened again at Braintree. They were kept on picking up. They kept on picking up the pieces, didn't they? Until it got later in the game, they kept on finding more men around the midfield. And you could see he was trying to get Collins and Stubbs to go inside to bulk up the numbers, but it just left us imbalanced, and it just made things difficult, didn't it?
It's so rigid. But honestly, I'll give me 4-4-2 over 3-5-2 any day. But it's not work. At the end of the day, right? We've got the results. That's fine. I'll speak more about it in the second episode, but. We could get found out. We've played mainly lower teams. We've got absolutely done over by Worthing, and Braintree were just walking through our defence. A National League team, a better team, scores 4 or 5 goals, I'm sure, or gets a lot of chances like Slough did.
Braintree didn't really come. They got the goal early, didn't they? And then they if they'd have pushed a bit more, they would have scored.
What was that defending? Oh my God, what was that defending? How are you not catching someone offside at that point? And this is what worries me a lot. Is like, we've had a very good start. I'm very happy on paper with the start, but I'm very concerned if this doesn't improve. I always see the big picture. Usually last season, I was going, oh no, it can come good. I've seen good aspects of our game, but like just get the ball on the ground more, like we did in the last 10 minutes. Move it left and right. Jarvis is fantastic with his feet. Jarvis and Ash are brilliant players. Stop lumping it to them, and then maybe put another one in central midfield if we can. And we'll improve, and the results will come in performances. But right now, we're in this balance of it can go two ways. One, we improve and we carry on getting results, and we look at this part of the season and go, we just did enough to get results. Or the other way, we go, now we're getting found out by teams, and it's getting quite embarrassing. But that's just why
the long balls are just so frustrating. I mean, the first half against Braintree, if we're moving on to that, there's a few balls just put up to Jarvis, and he must have been 40 yards from goal, and they were just chipped up to him aimlessly,
and he was playing everywhere, Jarvis, as well, wasn't he?
He was coming back, but the guy was right on his back and trying to chip a ball up to him. Just play football. And I think Gary Johnson said at half time, you just need to have more patience. Play along the back if you have to. Wait for the ball to come to you. You know, you don't have to go long. Marshall hasn't got a lot of patience with the ball as he goes long.
I'll say one more thing as well.
There's just no patience in our play. So.
I'll say one more thing because it's been building me for a few days. What concerned me against Braintree, especially in the first half, I know it's tired. I've never seen a Gary Johnson team that hasn't gone for a second ball as much as that game. That's what really concerned me at half time was and that they might have been knackered, but they weren't going for it as much in some players and in some positions. There's the amount of times the ball come in, if you're playing long ball, you win the second ball. That's the whole point of playing long ball football, it's percentages. But then it just looks so just all over the place. And eventually,
I think Lapsley and Donald were trying to cover such a big space.
So
they found themselves sort of caught in between the penalty boxes.
But at the end of the day,
I want to get up, but I can't be everywhere. And they just end up being nowhere for 60 minutes, did they?
At the end of the day, if we're going to improve a lot, we've won 4 games in a row. So,
Chris, you got anything to add?
No, I'm not of a negative disposition myself, so I don't have much to say to that really. No, I mean, I thought we played better.
It did improve
the credit for on Monday.
As we said, didn't it?
Yeah. We had the ball down more than a lot of people gave us credit for on Monday. Before they scored, we probably could have scored, and we were trying to get through them, weren't we? I think the distances still aren't right, kind of, because it feels like we all attack or we all defend, and that's problematic because when you lose the ball, what's the modern phrase you said? It went turnover. When the ball's turned over, and it happened a lot in the second half when we were chasing the game. And of course, Lapsley's trying to get back, Donlan's trying to get back, and you ended up with kind of 3-on-3 a few times. But I didn't think we played that badly on Monday. Personally, there's been a lot of people are very negative, and that's the way they want to be. I thought second half particularly, the chances we created. If you look at the chances we had the Ash chance when he stole it off the back. We had the chance Jenkins Davis, however, the keeper made a brilliant save. Silva hit the post. So we had loads of opportunities. I mean, it wasn't like we stole it. Second half, we battered them.
No, we deserved to win, but in the end,
yeah,
the 25 minutes it told because we started to move the ball around a bit more.
They were shot.
Once we actually started to do the basics of football and stop making it hard for ourselves, we were it's actually quite easy, this football thing. But why does it take 70 minutes to do that?
I think what we found is a lot of people didn't necessarily think, which we said before, you're not just going to turn up and win these games. And
no,
I think what I want us to do at some stage, where I'm not particularly fussed at the minute because we're winning games. I don't care. Like I said to you guys the other day, pretty performances don't get you promoted, points do. It doesn't bother me in that sense. But what I think we need to do in terms of goodwill, feel, positivity is to turn up to one of these games. Saturday would be a good opportunity, and just turn up and put in a real dominant performance where you're winning by 2 or 3 goals and we're dominant, and you can go, "Oh, geez, they're full time. Look at them." And I think Saturday is an interesting game for us because obviously
has the squad got that in them, Chris?
Oh, absolutely,
they should be.
Oh, they have.
It's a hard
have they got it under this manager? That is the question as well, because tactically it's the same as last season. I don't know if it has at the moment. I really don't.
It doesn't look, and the problem is that when Johnson came in the first couple of years, you saw the philosophy of Johnson. Like, it was this counter-attacking passing football was good. In the season, which it all should have gone up, we saw 2. We saw that lovely passing football, and then he did so well to then change it when injuries hit and players changed to a more direct wing play sort of thing. And you saw a clear philosophy of football. Problem is, right now, I don't know what our philosophy of football is, and that's what bugs me. The results are absolutely fine. I don't care. You're right. We're getting the results. And that's what means we're not going to win every game this season. That's also happening. But what concerns me is there's a kind of a lack of understanding. And I love watching a team that's like really well drilled. Like, the defense is all over the place still at times. I love seeing a team that when they attack, you see like patterns of play. It won't always happen. I don't mind if they're going to do a mishit ball, they're going to do a mishit. That's fine. But when it's kind of this everyone's looking at each other like, what do I do? And then they're doing stupid, nervous balls over the top, and like that needs to be stamped out. And my problem is, as I said, it can go one of 2 ways. And if they keep improving, that's fine. But I am just concerned going forward still at the moment. And it's the most bizarre feeling I've ever felt supporting a football club at all, because if we've won 4 in a row, I should be buzzing. We're in a league we should be winning. I should be absolutely loving it. But I'm just turning up like, it's just hard work, really. I find it so frustrating.
It just doesn't feel like they're doing enough in training on
the
basics of playing the football, being comfortable on the ball, pass and moves, that sort of thing. You can see they're trying to do a bit of that, but I just don't see enough.
I like seeing a team that's drilled.
Fluidity. I want to see
fluid and drilled, and it's not that. And this football club has aims to get back in a football league. At the end of the day, the aim over the next few years, if you sat down, we all know what's going on as we had last week. The aim will be to get promoted out of this division and then build towards being a high end of the National League team. I want standards set in the football club on and off the pitch from day one about what is going on. And when we're playing these teams and it's just not quite, and there's just not this flow and philosophy, and it all feels disjointed, that's what concerns me. Yeah, right now we're winning games.
Behind the scenes, Sam. It went stale about a year ago.
It doesn't feel right.
Bread doesn't turn back, unfortunately, does it? It's still stale now, and we're grinding out wins.
I think this is why we're negative.
Wins because we got enough.
This is why we feel negative, because I'm not seeing this long term.
Well, I was going to say, I don't know about you guys, but my goals for this as a Torquay fan this season, there's only one thing I want, and that's promotion.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I have high standards this season. It's a disgrace that we're in the National League South, not undeservedly so. I'll always say we deserve what we got last season. We deserve to be in the National League South. But Torquay United in the National League South, in my mind, is a disgrace. And we should be aiming to get out of this division first time. And if we fail that, I do fear for the club in the future how we do go on from here. So that's why I think I'm quite critical this season of the management as well. Again, I just the the football is just—it's hard to watch, and
we're on
it's
a
not
bit
because
of a
it's
knife edge, aren't we, Tom? Because
it's
if
not
we
yeah.
lose a game, then everybody's going to be on it, aren't we? And
It's not it's not like it's
grinding to
ugly.
wins.
It's not ugly football. It's just I'm seeing the same mistakes game in
Yeah.
every game. But then again, I saw that last season and we were losing. So to win 4 in a row,
Yeah, we've actually made a good
I
start.
guess-
I just have so many concerns going forward. We
Yeah.
really have to improve, as we will
I
get
think what's-
found out.
I think what's interesting as well is if you look at the point I made pre-season and you worried about after the Worthing game was you look at what happened with ours and the risk of keeping a manager when you've got relegated is if you don't have a good start, it becomes very difficult to keep them on. So we've got all of this feeling and reaction and negativity.
It becomes very divisive.
And we're fourth in the league.
Yeah,
We're fourth
it's
in the
mad,
league and we've won 4
Yeah.
out of 6.
I can't get my
So,
head around
I-
it. I'm sat here miserable, and we've won 4 league games in a row. I can't get my head around it. But I'm just so
I'm
winning
not
games.
miserable. I'm not miserable.
We're winning games.
I think I just hope for a little bit better, really.
I'm just concerned for the future. I'm all right with what's happened, to be honest. Like, I want to turn up and I want to see talking. I play football.
I think the proof will be in the pudding, though, won't it? Because I mean, at the minute, it's kind of going to go one or two ways. Some are saying, "Oh, we're papering over the cracks," or we'll get found out. With the greatest of respect, by who? Because we haven't played. You know, we're nicking these games, but we're not exactly hanging on for dear life. It sounds like Slough in the first half. I wasn't there, but it sounds like Slough we got battered. But actually, I personally, I wasn't at the Worthing game, but I haven't seen. Obviously, they were a good side. Look at their record; they've won 5 out of 6. But in reality, we should be able to beat a lot of these sides not at full tilt, which is what's happening. So if we do start going full tilt, we do get better. And the players admitting, Stolz did an interview today where he says, "We know we can be better. We know we can get better and improve and play better."
Yeah.
So you've got to look at the other side of actually, if we then do start going full tilt, we're going to start really damaging some teams.
I think we do miss Dawson in that midfield.
Yeah,
because
just a bit of leadership.
We're really missing
the
that
midfield's
kind
the
of guy.
issue.
That guy who wins possession in there
and just talks to everyone and brings everyone into play. And even Jarvis is doing that role in the second half. I just want to see a bit more of that. No, let's go.
All a bit tepid without him, isn't it? You need a bit more fireworks.
I thought the frustrating part on Monday as well was actually they didn't go through us at all, apart from the goal. That was what's so frustrating. The siege parted and there's that huge great hole after 5 minutes or whatever. But if you think about it after that, House to make any kind of save.
They had plenty of midfield, Chris, but they had nothing up top.
Yeah, exactly.
Really.
Yeah, exactly.
They had a great chance of 1-1, didn't they? I think we let them in, and they had instead of going for goal, they passed it around, and then it fizzled out. But no, I think I went to Jarvis in his post-match interview after Braintree, and that kind of got me back into sort of from in the moment as a Torquay fan, and this is rubbish, this is crap. Back to we played poorly, but there's better to come from this lot, and we know there's better to come from this lot.
I hope so.
And let's be honest, we've got if you're going by Gary Johnson, what he's saying, he's looking at the loan options soon with the EFL window closing. Where would you rather be? 4 wins on the trot and playing poorly, or without a win in 4 or 5 and near the bottom in the National South? I mean, yes, the football's rubbish. But at the end of the day, and I know I tend to flip-flop on these things at the moment, but you've got to...
About game results.
Now I've got it all out, I feel better about it.
Yeah, I don't feel as bad as you probably did, Sam. You were ranting during the game. I was
I was fuming. In fairness, right, I had to stream 4 hours that morning, and I was up since 4:30 getting back from Leicester, where I've been for the last few days. So I was in a bad mood. But
I think for me, it just needs that extra. You do want that. As I said to Chris on Friday, I need a bit of a performance because we've paid good money for our season tickets this year.
And I think that's the point.
We paid the same money.
I want to see 11 players playing in
well.
unison. I just want to see 11 players playing as a unit again. And that's what Gary Johnson should always be
we
good
need
at.
to see better, don't
And
we?
it's not as simple as just turning up, but what we need, preferably at a home game, I think, obviously you're going to have the majority of your supporters, but we soon, and we've got 2 opportunities next week, we need to turn up to a home game, dominate the game, look like a fit, full-time, coherent side, win by 2 or 3 goals to say, right, have a bit of that National League South. This is what we're about, which we haven't done yet. And you hope it will come, but
and that'll banish.
In the meantime, we're winning
a few sort of doubts and a little bit of hangover. But we need that.
And I think there will be 2 or 3 players coming in the next couple of weeks as well. In terms of squad depth, the options off the bench aren't great. There's not anything on there that you can change the game with hugely. You look at players like De Silva who continue to frustrate the living daylights out of me. He comes on, he lost the ball, he
kind of got stuck on the left as well. He was trying to cut back in, and the guy knew he was going to do it every time, and just sort of nicked the ball off of him, didn't he? And he just looked a bit.
But you can cut inside and put good quality crosses in the box. That's what he's there for, and that's not what he does, and that's the frustrating part. But again, he's young.
He needs to get to the byline, Chris, and he's not one of those who can whip a ball in from
Yeah.
Do you,
But on the left, it's no good.
Yeah.
And you could see Collins. What struck me with Collins, I know he limped off, so how serious the injury is, but he just looks like a player really short on confidence. There were 2 or 3 times in the first half where he picked the ball up, kind of faced up the fullback, and you thought, a couple of times I said out loud, right, go at him, run at him. And he kind of got halfway and then realised that actually what he was going to do was, if he did have the pace go around the outside, he's then got to put it across him with his left foot, which he can't do. So this wrong having right-footed players on the left, I get it, because he cut inside and he puts a cross in like he did at Slough. That's where it works. But you just don't. And De Silva's got, you're not even.
We also had a few times when players came into midfield and they went to pass the ball to the strikers, and all the attackers were sort of stood in a line.
This is my problem.
Move, make
triangles, movements of play. Why isn't it happening? This is my problem, because it's so much easier. If we just tire them out, forget the last 10 minutes when they're knackered and we can do it. They'll be knackered by half time. That's the point. That is the problem. But
that's what I want to see from the training pitch. Really, I want
just
to
make it easier for ourselves. More cohesion in the players, and there's more patterns of play.
We train full time. You expect a bit better on the pitch.
Yeah. My dad said at one point in the first half, you do look when you're struggling and you're starting to misplace some passes, you look to me and think, what do they actually do on the training ground? What's the cohesion? What's the plan? What's the team structure that you work on day in, day out, and how you're playing, you're coming out from the back, the patterns you're trying to work, the structure in midfield. And you just sort of, he said, he looked at me like, what do they do? Because they looked a bit lost. And then a couple of passes inside, and all of a sudden, hang on, that's what they work on. But you don't see it enough. As sometimes you don't see that quality of play enough.
For 70 minutes, 60 minutes that game, we were a Gary Hours National League South team. That's how I felt, and that's what I said. I said I'm literally watching the same thing again, and we sounds like we did that against Slough.
Yeah,
that's what we won. I'm saying that for first 50, 60, and the last like 25 minutes. Oh, it's Gary Johnson again. We're getting the ball on the floor and we move it in and out.
What Gary Hours could do is that last 20 minutes of pushing them on to win, could they? That's what Gary Johnson does. Get that motivation to do that.
Can do much. He could organise a defence, and that was about it.
Do we think Stobbs meant it? I know he posted on our Talky Talk post saying.
Well, I mean, he said it in the interview today. I don't know why he didn't. Well, when you look at it, I mean, he said he asked him that interview on the club website today, and he said, "Oh, yeah, he meant it." But if you actually look at it, I can believe he did mean it, because if you look at the goalkeeper's position, he's about a yard from the front post. So he wasn't the biggest keeper in the world. And what was odd about it, because sometimes you see those ones where it kind of bounces in front of the keeper, and they kind of don't know whether to go or commit, or they kind of flip it into the top of the net. If you look at it, he was absolutely nowhere near it.
He didn't move.
It didn't go.
Did he? Just seemed to.
But it didn't go. It didn't go in the top corner either. Those usually go in the top right in the top corner, don't they?
I think it's such a clever free kick.
It went right in the bottom corner.
It's such a clever free kick.
All the way over him and in.
Because you're either getting head at the front post if you don't quite get enough height, or you're getting that. It's so clever.
Yeah.
Don't do it again though. It's
I love that he went for it again.
Oh my God,
he said in an interview, I tried it again and got it a bit wrong, but
that was slightly more difficult angle, wasn't it?
And it was on again. So he was back 3 or 4 yards further back.
I love the lad. I think
he's got quality.
I don't mean, man, but
he came out after in the second half and made one run where he pushed the ball forward and drove forward, and that's what I want to see.
I really like Stobbs.
Go forward. Don't wait.
He don't always get it right, but I love Stobbs. I think he's clever.
What Stobbs is good at, I agree with you, Sam. What Stobbs is good at is I'm not comparing him to David Beckham, obviously, but David Beckham had no pace. Yeah. What David Beckham had the ability was to move forwards with the ball, because the defender's thinking, "Oh, he's going to cross it. He's going to cross it." And lots of times he made 20 yards just by kind of with the defender jockeying him. By which point he's in a position where he can go bang, whip across it, or drop it to the back post. He's got real quality.
He loves getting to the touchline. At one moment in the first half, he got the ball and he just like a homing pigeon. He went to the touchline for no reason. Like no, you can go inside, and then he did try to go inside. He's got a good attitude, Jack. I do like
So Stobbsy, if you're watching, vote for us in the FCA this year.
But what was I going to say? Thank you for episode 1. That's for the most we talked. There's proper debate going on this week. It's very nice. I feel less negative now. I just feel like to get my points out.
Come on, Swanee. Come on.
Yeah.
And I've raised it. I've raised my rating for the next episodes where we've asked out of 10. What do you think? And it won't be Kelly's corner. He's a very long day at work, and I've say a less long day at work. So I've got to read. And of course, it's the one where there's been the most comments. So look forward to that.
Here's Hargreaves, chance for Torquay. Chris Hargreaves, the captain. If he stays onside, Carlisle checks instead. He's looking for Banyan.